Hello and welcome to Life is Feudal, Forest Village. We've managed to do quite a lot of terraforming off camera. As far as I can tell, we've got the entire quadrant now carved out ready for the actual fruit orchards. But the trouble is I really need the storage in place in the centre, and I need the transportation to balance all of the actual food around the barns. So the priority really is to get all these barns up and built. So there's like 6 over here to build, 7 over here, and then we've got 2 stables as well, because they'll be the ones that actually share all of the different food types between the barns. And then that means that when we get round to building the actual, the orchard and the hostel over here, these people living over here, they won't come all the way over here to get their vegetables. They'll just go to their local barn, in theory. Now, I did check while I was doing all this terraforming, and there just wasn't enough vegetables actually getting grown in this area. So I've added some more farmers over here, and sure enough, we're now actually producing in excess of vegetables. So they're now going into the centre, which means that the people up here are getting a share of vegetables. Not a lot at the moment, but they're getting some, I'd imagine. Yeah, they're set to a limit of 500. I think I didn't notice the pack mule here has died, so I've got one coming over from the village to replace it. But once that's over, we should start seeing them getting their vegetables back again. But the only trouble is the meat. We've really been struggling for meat. I mean, we had 2 pastures and it just wasn't enough, so I brought a 3rd one, and it's still not enough. And we've got roughly like 100 in each barn. There's none in the centre barn. I mean, I can't explain how I got fruit in there, because the filters say don't allow anything in. The villagers can't bring anything into here. None of the 2 stables, none of them do fruits. I don't know how we've ended up with fruit in there, but in any case, we're just not producing enough meat. So, I mean, I had a lot of people, and I really want to focus on getting, a trade of meat for fish. So what I've started to do, instead of like getting people to mine resources out on the surface, I mean, they'll just pile in for like village 1 and then they'll start dying of starvation, which I don't want. I thought what I'll do is I'll actually build some mines over here. So I've got one of each type. They've got some shacks for them to live in as well. So we're producing quite a few resources because of that. I mean, I rotate them around. I mean, once I got to roughly these levels, I started piling everybody into the stone quarry. I mean, I have lost a heck of a lot of people to actually mining accidents, but it's probably a lot less than I would have lost to starvation. So I was going to see how far I can get with these resources. The only trouble is I've got no control over the people that actually carry them out of that warehouse and bring them to an actual building site. I mean, like that barn there, for instance, as soon as I unpause it, I'm going to get probably like a load of people coming over from village 1, and they'll help out. They'll just drag all the resources that are needed to this barn. I'm assuming that if I open up all 3 of them at the same time, they'll stay around a lot longer. So I'm going to take it slow, because I don't have that many like free labourers. I mean, I could start freeing up like the miners and the millers, for instance, for the sake of it. But yeah, I'm going to take it a bit slow, because if these people are coming over from like village 1, I only want them to stay a short while, go back home, and then that way there's less chance of them starving to death. So the plan is to basically focus on that, 1 building at a time. In the meantime, we'll get more resources gathered. There's still a bit of terraforming going on over there, and I'm going to keep, pushing in that direction, because this is where we'll be doing all of the actual chicken coops. But I'm going to take it slow, do 1 building at a time, and see how that goes. If it's not too bad, I might do maybe 2. We'll just see how it goes, and then once we've made some good progress, I'll bring you back. Well, it's taking a lot longer than I thought. I mean, I managed to get this building up and running. It was round about midsummer onwards, by the time they'd gathered all of the resources just for that barn. We managed to then get this barn built over the following winter. So that was like year 252. We got into year 253, and there was a lot of people that died, starvation, hypothermia. So there was a lot of people lost. I had to pull 4 people from an orchard, so that's currently paused off. There's nobody in the mills. I've had to pull 4 people from the healer's shop. Now we've since started to catch up again. We've got a lot more people back again. We're into the spring of year 254, so that was built. That barn there got built in 253. That one over 252, that one 252, getting into 253. I've managed to get all these wells, the main ones, built anyway. I'm not too concerned about those ones, for instance, because we're not at the point of building those barns yet anyway. But yeah, so yeah, that was a lot of people I lost, and that was only just doing one barn at a time. So we've got a lot of labourers now free. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to focus those on building these barns. I mean, there's 9 people missing from the mines, I've just realised as well. So I've really had to cut back on the number of workers. Now the plan is then is just to basically, I'm just going to keep going and see how we do this year, because as soon as that barn there was built and the wells were built, we were into about the summer of 253, and I just paused it off. I'll let the game run without doing anything more, and so that's why the populations started to come back up. I mean, we've got like 58 teenagers. It's that crazy, so they should start to catch up. So hopefully this will start to speed up a bit more. So I'll get on with that and I'll bring you back. Well, we've finally managed to get all of our barns built. It's taken me a lot longer than I thought. I mean, I've been roughly averaging about 2 barns a year, but there was one year I literally had to just do nothing. There was so many people got lost, I was just down to about 2 or 3 labourers, so I just paused it. I just did nothing for that entire year. And then they've been gradually coming back. What I also did was I stopped transferring people between jobs, because normally during the winters I'll unpause these fish farms and assign gardeners to it, and I'll free up a lot of farmers, get them to work in the bakeries, for instance, the mills as well. But there was just so many people seem to be like dying of hypothermia, especially like teenagers and children. So I paused that off after about 2 years, and it seems to have stabilised a lot better. I'm seeing a lot less people going to hypothermia, or at least in the last couple of years anyway. I mean, the population's slowly been coming back, which is good, but yeah, it's a bit of a doozy, because I mean, every time I start this up in the spring, I just don't have much time to actually get any terraforming done. But I'll start them building, you know, during the spring, and obviously people have got to bring all these resources across to the building site. For whatever reason, you get tons of people who'll come over from Village 1. I mean, even if I've got like somebody working in that farm, for instance, they might suddenly decide, well, actually it's more priority to come over here. So they then drag themselves over here, drag all the stone or whatever, you know, to help get the building site started. By the time they get home, they just starve to death. So it's there's a lot of people get lost. I mean, this last year wasn't too bad. I mean I've lost quite a lot of people due to starvation, but it's not just like having to, you know, bring resources to the actual buildings. It's also because I'm having to chop trees down to get the wood, because we've got mines in the area, but we just don't produce enough wood. So yeah, every time I put an instruction in to chop the trees down, sure enough, people come over from Village 1, and it costs me more people. But the good part is, I mean, we've now got all that bit done. I mean, we've now got these 2 barns to be 2 caravan stables, that one there and that one there. Once they're done, I'll be able to put orders in to get them to share the milk, for instance, between these 4 barns, and the meat, if we ever actually get any in there, get the meat shared between here. Vegetables are actually doing quite well, so this one here will be sharing the vegetables out, and then we can still get started with actually building the orchards, and then these ones here, they'll start transferring the actual fruit across as well. So one other thing that I've done is, I mean, I think there was a lot of labourers were over there as opposed to over here, because we, for whatever reason, we've got like tons of teenagers dotted around somewhere. You know, I can find them all. There's quite a few teenagers and children. So what I've done is I've increased the actual capacity on this hostel. I've increased it by about 7. Gets me to a nice round number of 350 housing places. So I think that might help me with the labourers, because I was definitely losing a lot of labourers to starvation. I suspect quite a lot of them will have been living over there, and then, you know, obviously having to go all the way back to village 1. So hopefully that'll help out a great deal. So yeah, I'm going to have to make sure we've got enough wood in this area to be able to make all these 2 stables. And then once I've got those built, I'll bring you back and we'll start working on the roads and the actual structures to get our fruit orchards built. So I'll see you in a while. Well, we've now got the caravan stables built, and I've got them basically exchanging, you know, food between the barns. So that's all starting to get shared out. It'll take a while for them to catch up, like, but what I want to do is really start with the roads. And I've deliberately waited until the spring, because as soon as I put all these roads in, you'll get a load of people from like the likes of Village 1 come running across to help out, and that's not really what I want in the middle of winter. Now I'm just trying to... it's going to be tricky to line that up. So we've got that one there at the back, so if I put these ones down here, I'll use the road to kind of measure how far I need to build the next one out. So that's 27 to the next one. So that would be about there. So if I build that, so that's, yes, that's about right. Yeah, so that's good. Now for the next one, so that's where the barns go. Now this is where there's like a teensy weensy little problem in my plan, and that is that the fields, well, they're actually smaller than pastures or orchards, so I can't fit them into this size. If I like build that, for instance, that's about as far as I can get. I mean, that's big enough for one person. I mean, if I keep going, if I want like 4 people, you're looking at something like a 34 by 18, and it's gonna mess up my road structures. I want to try and get these roads all in sync. I mean, I know people are walking around them, but yeah, I still want to keep them in sync, because if I build these bigger in this direction, what's going to happen is we'll be pushing out further in this direction. The coops are the same size, if I can find it. That's they're sheep. Right, that's a coop. So a coop, yeah, coop will be the same size as like the pastures. So when I build the coops over here, they'll take up the same amount of room as here. So I can't really like build these orchards any bigger than the actual fields are lengthwise, otherwise it'll just mess things up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up pushing in that direction. I'm going to make them wider, and that way the coops will be in line with here, but the orchards will be a bit out of sync, and I'll make the place wider so it won't. I'll end up with gaps probably, but that's not too bad a thing. So the other problem is the scarecrows. Scarecrows, they don't cover that much of a distance. It's not so bad for the fields, but if I put a scarecrow there, and I put another one, say, there, it's not leaving me enough room to get the actual orchards to fit in, I don't think. Yeah, see, the orchard overlaps. I'd have to make it 34 wide. I mean, if you think of it, this one's they're about 18 wide at a push. So I can't really have the scarecrows there. So that's a pity. Just get rid of them. So I'm going to have to put the scarecrows on this side. I'll just put it in as a placeholder, just so I know where I'm working. And then if I put that there, we'll get to 22 by 30. Okay. So you then put another scarecrow in. So that's about there. It's the best I can do. So they don't. There's a couple of patches where we're missing out. Because I mean here this is going to be literally the wall. Well, actually, I haven't said that. It doesn't have to be. I could put a scarecrow there, I suppose, if I could just stop the mouse moving around so much. I could put one there and I could put one there. So that's not too bad if I do that then. Yeah, if I do that, I'll literally surround it with 4 scarecrows. Right, so in between them we'll need a house. So let's see how far. Now that's a road, so that's where our road goes. So then we get a house. Well, in this case it's actually a hostel, but put that facing in that direction. Can't really see for the trees. So I'll just pause these off for now, because I don't want these built. I mean, basically they're just going to come in and build all the roads anyway. That's the first thing I'll focus on. Then there's our next road. Yeah, I can see already we're pushing out much further than I anticipated. So I need another scarecrow. So I'll put that one there. It's just a placeholder. I just can't see much because of the trees. If I send people in to chop the trees down now, I'll never get around to doing this. I'll have to wait a lot longer. So let's see if we do another orchard. So that will start here. Ooh, we're just getting that in. I'm going to have to do some more terraforming out there because I can't leave it that small a gap. We've got to be able to run the wall down here. Right, so yeah, it does look a lot wider, I must admit. I mean, if we do a road check, we run from say there to where is it? Probably easy if I do it from there because there's no trees in the way. That's about 63. Ooh, wow, yeah, that's quite a lot bigger. So we'll end up with quite a big gap, I'd imagine, in here. Right, so in any case, I mean, the next thing I'll need is storage. So, oh no, they come under the castle because they're castle barns, aren't they? So I think that's. Yeah, that's where the castle. So the castle barn faces that direction. We'll then have a road in front of it. And then we'll run a road past it. So this is where all the barns go. So we then set up a gap with street lights and wells. So okay, so put a street light in there. Now I want that facing there. We'll want a well right next to it. I'll put a well there. Oh, let go. And then we'll put the next street light in to the side of that one. And then that gives us our road to go there. So yeah, I mean, we're going to get we'll get another barn in there easily. I think I might end up leaving a gap in between. So I think it'll look a bit better if I do it this way. So if I can just find the... keep changing this size for some strange reason. Right, so I'll pause all this load off because that's about as far as I want to go for now. I'd rather get rid of all these trees. So what I'll do is I'll get them to start putting the roads in as well as clearing out the trees. So I'll take these out because I don't need them. I can put them back in afterwards because they're just placeholders. Get them to build that road over there. May as well. So that's that part, and then I think what I'll do is I'll end up building the other barns on that side. So you'll end up with a bit of a gap. Because that's what you get, is you get the barns in the middle. So these will just have a bigger gap between them, and I might end up, you know, depending on the room I get, I'll put might just put some more wells in between or something. Just something for decoration. Right, so we're then at the point where we need this side. Because I mean, to be honest, all I need to begin with, I just want to get this orchard here built. That caravan, that barn there built. And then I want the actual caravan stable, so that then we then start transferring the fruit from here to here. So to do that, I need to get the road. I need to extend that part of the road out. So that'll just be another field there. So I'll put that there. Yeah, I think it was 22 by 30, wasn't it? 22 by 30. Ah, now that's a bit of a pain because... You see, with this one I can put scarecrows on either side, whereas with this one I can't. I mean, I could always move the... If I move the well... That's a thought. Let's move the well. What I'll do then is I'll put the scarecrow on that side there. So hopefully there's still enough room to fit the well. Ooh, just... Hang on a minute. Did I just overlap there? I think I might have overlapped that one. Let's put it... Yeah, that's alright. Yeah, so that kind of solves that problem. And then we would have had another house up there. So really I want the road to line up if I run the road to there and to there, I'll take them back out. Well, having said that, I could leave that like that because I'm going to build the bonds on that side anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Right, so we'll get the next hostel built. Which way around are you facing? That way? That way. Yeah, I'll put that there. Right, so that's paused off. We'll get rid of that. Right, so there's nothing being built at the moment, so... Right, so I want another scarecrow, so like a marker point there. And we put our next orchard in there. Close that off. Take that back out. Now that one. So the older one, they just basically they just face the actual the center basically. So we then build that one, and that one needs to face in that direction. Yeah, that faces in that direction. Yeah, it would be a lot easier without the trees, like, but I think I might be able to pull it off. So we've got a lamppost there, so I'll put another lamppost down there. And we put our well in place. We'll get the road running up between these two paths here. If I can get the road working. Right, so I'll then put a lamppost on that side. I'll put a scarecrow next to it. And then we'll get or we'll try and see if I can get the well down there. Right, so just leave all these paused. Just wondering that. Ah, no, I put that one in the corner. I put that scarecrow in the corner though. Well, it doesn't matter. It'll be easier once I get the actual the trees cleared out. And you can always juggle them around afterwards. No big deal. Right, so we then need our last stable over here. Yeah, that's not too bad. Just means we've got a bit of a gap in the middle. And to be honest, it actually looks better than that because that's like out of sync because the roads don't line up. So that's actually looking a bit better, to be honest. Is that how that one went as well? Kind of gets messed up because of the... Oh yes, I know. It's because I ended up having to put this in for the chicken coop. Oh well, no big deal. Right, so the next thing I want to do is get our donkey caravan stable in. So that's the donkey farm. So I need to put that. I need to put that one in. And we'll put that there. And I'm just going to leave it there for now because the plan is, I was thinking of like getting one of the hostels up and running first to have people living here, but then it's going to take about like 2 years. You know, by the time I assign somebody to this field here, for instance, it's going to take 2 years to actually grow anything before they start producing anything. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave them to build all these roads because they'll focus on them anyway. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them to build the actual orchard first. Now, I'm going to have people living in there. I'll just increase the capacity on that house over there. So they'll it's not that very good, but it'll be pretty quick to get this actual orchard built. And once they've done that, then I can start turning my attention to things like the actual hostels. So I think what I'll do is I'll get them to build this first. They'll live over there. We'll get the barn built afterwards, because then once the fruit starts getting produced, they obviously need somewhere to put it. Then the other priority is the actual caravan stable to then do the transfer across. So that'll get the fruit starting to move, and then we'll start turning towards things like the hostels. Now, the only thing I'm thinking of is, because further down the line I want to actually start, you know, replacing all this lot. I want to tear this lot down and do a complete rebuild. And it kind of crossed my mind. I'm thinking, well, what do I do with all the people? I mean, to be fair, I mean, you know, I'm losing a lot of people anyway. So it's, if all these people disappear, it's not going to be that big a surprise considering how much I must lose each year anyway. But I'm going to try and minimise it as best I can. So I think what I'm going to start doing is actually pausing off fields over here, or at least the fruit fields to begin with, and then it'll force the people over to come over and live over here instead. I think that's probably the strategy I want to use. I mean, we need 4 people in, say, like that one, so I'll increase the housing capacity by 4 on this side, and I'll reduce it by 4 on this side. So then the people who are working in the orchards over here will slowly start moving across to here. I mean, obviously I've got to leave enough like food getting produced in this area, but yeah, I'm going to try and keep the losses to as few as possible if I can. So right then, it's now the spring, so I'm going to let these lot loose and start building all these roads, get it all cleared out, get all the trees removed, and I might tidy it up a bit, and we'll just see how we go. So once I've got the whole area started, I'll bring you back. Well, we've managed to get our first orchard over here built. We've got the barn as well, plus the stable. That's now up and running with orders to start transporting things backwards and forwards. And I've updated these 2 barns as well to get fruit, but it's gonna take a while before these you know, these people start actually getting us any fruit to go in that barn. All these trees around here have been cleared. So what I'm going to do, I mean, the main focus is going to be the hostel next, because that'll make the field a lot more efficient. But I actually want to put that road in, but the trouble is, I'm looking at it, it's the summer. I'm trying to get myself a marker for the tavern, because the tavern goes in the middle, and then you get the caravan on the side. I mean, what I've done is I had to turn that around. It was facing the wrong direction. I also did the same with the lamp. There was like a little lamppost down there, and I've moved that around. That's now in the middle, just to try and line it up a bit more with the field. So there's the scarecrow there, and then I'll put the lamppost there instead of in the corner. So these scarecrows still need to be built. So now that I've put that in, they'll probably go straight to work building that, but I need to find out roughly where to put this caravan, where to put the tavern, because the tavern, I mean, that's another key building I need to put in. I mean, if I put that I mean, I could put it in the middle, because that's where that went. Ultimately, it ended up literally slap bang in the middle. If I put that in the middle, I mean, the roads will go around it, because I mean, I could put it, say, there, but then you're going to have a big gap on that side anyway. I can't fit it in where I can keep these roads nice and straight, so I think I'll just put it down there, so we'll have a slight road going around the sides. I'll just pause that off. We'll get another road going up in front of the tavern. And I'll do the same on the other side. I'm going to wait until I can get that terraforming over there done, and then I'll just basically line that caravan up on that side rather than right up against like that road. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Now we're then into, we need a couple of barns. Now, yeah, this is the trouble, is because the things are not lining up anymore. I mean, the actual fields that we need will go on these either side, and then we have the actual barns running up a barn and a warehouse. So that's not too bad. I can keep going with the roads actually, because the roads should line up anyway. Because what I did is I've got one barn and one warehouse on that side. So if we do that same on this side, so it's a normal warehouse. then we want a barn there. Yes, that just squeezes in. Now that road there, I want to put that road in now because that's my next guideline. Yes, that gives me the next guideline there because we end up with a gap. But then the fields go either side, so we need 2 fields either side of that. So I'll start them. I mean, how big did I make them? Yeah, I made them that size just to basically fit in. So, I mean, it's no big deal. I mean, I'll do the same. So that's like 13 by 21 and 13 by 21. So that gives me the 2 fields. So we've got them in place, So just a case of putting in the water wells next, really. But I mean, that's pretty much as far as I'll need to go, at least to get this up and running. One thing I have had to do though is I've had to bring this this cow pasture back online. There's quite a drop in meat now. We're just not getting enough stuff to sell off for fish. These don't produce enough fish anyway during the year. And I'm going to have to try and find out where all that 14,000 meat's gone. There's 41,000 fruit lying around somewhere. I mean, there should be at least one of these caravanners should be taking the meat to market. So you're taking it to there. So what are you taking? Is it you then? No. I definitely know there's somebody around somewhere that it's supposed to bring fruit to the market. Or at least there used to be. So you're sharing that. So who was bringing the... I wonder if it was this one down here. Because the trouble is, what happens is every so often they get too busy. Yeah, so this one was originally bringing fruit. From here there was a lot of fruit getting grown over here. Now that's since been paused off, so that'll probably explain why there's no fruit being sent to the market. They're taking that fruit down to there to balance it out, so I'm literally just going to have to go through these places here, through the actual orders that I've got to try and find out where all the produce is. Because if you go to the market itself, there's hardly anything in there. We've got, I mean, I've been selling off lots and lots of milk. But I'm not seeing any fruit coming in, hardly any wool. Yet we've got 14,000 wool. And the plan was only to keep a few thousand, so I'm going to have to start juggling around the caravan routes, because otherwise people are just going to keep complaining of a lack of fish. And I'm going to see the meat go down even more. But what I'll do is I'll unpause that. We'll get that built and then we'll get it upgraded, but I'm going to have to cut down a lot of trees to be able to do that. I definitely don't have that amount of wood, and I don't have enough in the market to sell things off. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of tree chopping. So I'll get on with that, and then once we're ready, I'll bring you back. Well, the hostel's now built. It's been upgraded. I mean, it was done over like a 2-year period, just because it took so long. It needed about, like, I think it was 980 logs that were needed to upgrade this actual hostel. So that's now done, and I've capped it off at 4 because that was the amount I wanted for the actual the gardeners that would be working in this orchard. But because I've actually got a terraforming instruction going on, you know, down this side, it looks like all the labourers have like been given priority instead. So once that's all sorted, then obviously the gardeners will move in. I mean, they're scattered around. I mean, I think there's one of them in there, there's 2 of them in there. I mean, a minute ago there was 2 of them in there, but yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much my priority now, because we do get raiders land on this side, and then they're in pretty good distance. You know, they're quite close to where this hostel is. So if they were to land down here and I'm running the game at like ×10 speed, by the time I get the notification, they'll probably be about here, which is probably within, like, you know, striking range with their torches, I'd imagine. So I really want to get these walls up to keep them out, and then we'll start pushing in this direction to get the terraforming up here done, and then we can start building the chicken coops. So I'm pretty pleased with that now, because I mean, I can see there's some fruit being making its way into the centre. It's not a lot because we've only got the one orchard. I mean, I've got like a limit set here, so that there's always at least 500. So there isn't that much getting produced to get it into the centre really, or at least keep a surplus going. So once we can get this orchard up and running, then we should be fine. Now, I've been doing some tidy up work because there was a lot of children and teenagers dying off. I noticed there was nobody. I didn't have any people working in the mines. I lost a lot of people to starvation, to hypothermia. They were moving backwards and forwards between the villages, so we've actually taken quite a hit. And we're actually at one point I'd pulled all the taverners out, all of the teachers out. I still haven't put anybody back into the forestry, and I've pulled quite a lot of people out of the farms as well. Now, because these mines weren't in use, nobody needed to be in these shacks, but there was actually some teenagers and children in here, so I've now paused those two off. Because the quarry was exhausted, I've got that set to be deconstructed, and I've taken the shack away as well, because I really want to push the teenagers into places like this where we've got, you know, got them closer to food. I really don't want them to be living out in places like here during the winter. And I've done something similar over here, where this house was mostly teenagers and children, so I've paused it off for now. But because there's nobody living there, I'm just going to deconstruct the barn. I mean, I've got no real incentive to do much in this area anyway, because we're going to start deconstructing it at some point, as this place gets built, and then this will become village number 3, if you will. Or village 1.1 maybe, or something. But yeah, there's not a great deal of incentive to sort of get more people into here. So I thought, well, I'll just pause the house off, try and force all these kids and teenagers over to places like here, maybe, and like one less barn to look after as well. But yeah, there was a lot of people lost, and it's going to take me a while to recover from that, it seems. So the priority for now is just focus on this terraforming here, get my walls up, and then get this terraforming up here so that we're ready in the next episode to get the chicken coops built. One other problem I did run into as well, it comes down to the caps that I've got. There was a cap of 20,000 for grain and oats, and that's pretty much got stockpiled in my barns over here. I mean, this barn at one point, it was holding 12,000 oats. Basically what it is I've kind of like overshot when it comes to the farms. I mean, I've got 2 people in each farm, and the trouble with that is they're producing more oats and more grain than the taverner needs. So the problem then is it ends up getting stockpiled in the barn. It's happening here and over here. So what's then happening is we're hitting the actual cap, and then the actual farms, like these 2 oat farms here, you know, there's the caps being reached, and then it's a case of, well, they won't harvest anything and put it into the barns. Now, fortunately, I managed to catch that in time, and it's actually quite useful timing, because it means I've been able to pull like 4 farmers from here, another 4 farmers from here, and then that means I've had more labourers to use. But I think what I'm going to do is I think I'll actually deconstruct these farms and rebuild them just to be able to do one. I'm not really sure what else I want in this area, to be honest. I mean, I could have just one farm and then just rotate it each year maybe, or I could just have one farmer on either side, and I think I'll just do that. I'll just have like one. I'll still keep one of each type of farm just to keep it both going, otherwise I'll have to keep remembering to rotate them. And I'll do the same in this over here in the centre, and I'll rebuild these 2 farms that I was going to build over here as well. So we'll see how that goes in comparison, but it frees up some more people anyway as well. And not doing so well still for meat, even though we've got all of these cows over here. At least though we're starting to see more wool coming over into the market. So I've been selling that off actually for firewood, because we're just not generating enough wood or firewood in this region. I've got to be very, very careful, especially during the winter when I've got instructions to chop trees down, because people are dying of starvation. I mean, once we're back into the 40s, I won't be too fussed, but at the moment I've got to be very, very careful with what I can and cannot do. So at the moment I'm just trading things like wool for firewood. Because we had so many oats over here, I've actually started selling the oats off for fish in village 2. But anyway, I mean, the good news is we've now got our first orchard over here built. So shouldn't take that much to be able to start putting the chicken coops in over there. All of this is already in place, and then we just need to decide where to go from there. So that's it for this video. I do hope you've enjoyed watching it. If so, then do please leave a like, because that'll help me out a great deal. If you're new to the channel and you'd like to see more content like this, then yeah, do please subscribe. Just remember to click the little bell icon, because then you get notifications when I send new content out. And if you've got any comments, any suggestions, want to leave any feedback at all, please post that in the comments section below. But until the next video, thanks very much for watching. Bye!